Hello, welcome to Look East. Ipswich Town has new owners. They're from America and they are promising to splash the cash. There'll be money for new players to bring back the glory days.
Ipswich, the history, the pedigree, the gravitas of the club on the pitch, the family atmosphere off the pitch, it was a clear choice for us to try to pursue it, and we're thrilled to obviously achieve this milestone.
Hello, first tonight we start with football, and the Americans are coming to Ipswich Town. They're promising to spend some money and bring back the glory days. A takeover has been on the cards for months, but today it finally happened. The new people in charge are called Gamechanger 20, and the changes come after months of pressure from fans for the previous owner, Marcus Evans, to stand down. Here's our sports editor, Jonathan Park.
Portman Road on takeover day. Just the odd sign that things have changed. Marcus Evans' years done and dusted. Bring on the Americans. Well, news of this takeover has been doing the rounds for several weeks now, but only today was it confirmed by the EFL and approved. It brings to an end Marcus Evans' rather uninspiring 13 years in charge of this club, and as part of that deal, he's believed to have written off the majority of the debt that the club owed him, which we think is around about £100 million. Even his biggest critics would see that as a good thing for the future of the club. It also means no more protests, for the time being at least. Fans have grown restless. Supporter group Blue Action setting off flares at the training ground. Under Evans, Town have fallen to their lowest league standing since 1953.
I think that there's general delight, really. There's been a lot of talk of the takeover since the end of February, and it had appeared to have drifted, and then rumours again at the weekend that it was happening. I think fans are desperate to move on, really. The Marcus Evans era has become rather stagnant, and so I think fans are desperate for change, and the new consortium have come in. There's obviously going to be money to spend, and so I think people can see a kind of end to this, what's really been a long period of a sort of drift from the Premier League back in the early 2000s down to League One, and I think people can finally see that we sort of hit the bottom, and there's going to be a bit of a bounce with the game changer money behind us.
So who are Town's new owners? Well, they have a background in American soccer. One of the so-called Three Lions who are investors is Brett Johnson, the president of USL club Phoenix Rising. Looks like plenty of razzmatazz heading to Portman Road.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's needed. You know, the last few years there's been no money put into the club at all, has there? It's just disaster, really.
It's got to be good news, right? Because there's been no investment in this football club for years and years and years. So, you know, fingers crossed they'll do something good for the town.
Alongside the Three Lions, US investment fund Org will own 90% of Town, effectively a pension pot who will be looking for a return on their money. They pledged to invest significant sums to strengthen the playing squad in a bid to reach the Championship. At last, some positivity at Portman Road, one of the finest clubs in English football, according to its new owners. Jonathan Park, BBC Look East.
Well, a short time ago I spoke to Brett Johnson, who's part of the new consortium.
From my perspective, if you're invested in the sport of football, England is where you should want to have a stakeholder. And so I'm thrilled on behalf of my partners that we've achieved this, but we don't take it lightly. I think English football, there's a history of, a lot of smart money going to die, all with the best intention. So again, we approach this with total humility relative to the job before us, and but hope that the culture and success that we've seen in the sport, that we can emulate and replicate that, on that side of the pond.
When you say that you will invest in the club and you want to take the club further, how much money are you prepared to put in?
A substantial sum, obviously, within the sort of law of economic gravity relative to returns, and also relative to appropriate rules within English football. But we are excited to invest a considerable amount to make sure this club gets back to its rightful place in the pecking order.
People who don't live in this country perhaps don't understand quite how difficult it is to go from League One to the Premier League. Do you think you understand that?
I hope so. We certainly approach it with a sense of humility relative to the challenge before us. We don't take anything for granted. But that being said, we're absolutely committed to seeing it go up and to the right.
And I know in America you've got a brand new ground. Are you expecting to have a new ground at Ipswich Town?
No, I mean, relative to Portman Road, what an iconic venue. We're excited to see what improvements might be made to the overall game atmosphere, but I'm highly confident that, relative to our focus, it's going to be how can we start to improve performance on the pitch.
And how will you do that? Is it just buying players? Are you happy with the management setup of the club?
Yeah, it's too early to start to opine relative to that. Candidly, our focus was to get the deal done, which we did, and thrilled that sort of ink is to paper now. And we'll start to assess, all of those different moving parts.
The fan base has been shrinking in recent years. Are you hoping that the people of Ipswich will get behind you now?
Absolutely. The response has been positively overwhelming. And I want to thank the extended Ipswich family for their outreach and their support and, obviously their perception that this is the beginning of a brand new and positive day for Ipswich.
You say you want Ipswich to get back to where they belong. Where do they belong, do you think?
Yeah, again, I think anyone who has invested in English football, if you don't have aspirations, intentions of getting to the Premier League, then I'm not sure what you're doing. But that being said, our immediate objective is to get up a championship.
So will you be somebody who keeps an eye on what is happening at the club and who's signing who and who's playing well, or will you just be the money man?
No, we'll certainly be involved. I mean, we take a very active role in Phoenix, and we'll do so here. I'll certainly view myself accountable relative to the performance. That being said, someone with a lot more depth and experience than me will largely be calling those shots. And now that we've achieved this milestone, we'll start thinking about who that will be and try to get them in seat as soon as possible.
Thank you so much for being with us this evening, and good luck at Ipswich Town.
Thank you so much. Really grateful. Appreciate the time.
The head